Alright everybody, welcome back. This is going to be another Stormgate cast, and I'm Algorithmor. And this is going to be another cast featuring one of my friends in the community here. This is going to be jayxp123, also known as jayxp123, playing on his alt account here. And once again, huge shout out to JXP. Thank you for making your accounts public replay so I can go and steal them whenever I want. Your opponent, or Jay's opponent I should say, and this is going to be this space intentionally left blank, whom, if you are a regular viewer of the leaderboard, is number one on the leaderboard. This is the number one player at the moment. And I have chosen these matches because I wanted to showcase this player. We do not know who this player is. I do not know. But within the community, there is some thought that it must be Andreas. So I'm going to say that it's Andreas because I do not want to say this space is intentionally left blank all game long. So I will be calling him Andreas. And if it is not Andreas, I am sorry. We pretty much assume anyone at the top of the ladder who we don't know who it is Andreas. So if you're watching this space is intentionally left blank and you are not Andreas, hit me up on Discord. Let me know who you are. Send me more replays. I'd love to cast them. Okay, but let's get into this game. What is going down right now? We've got Jay out creeping, has taken the health camp. We saw that the health camp of Andreas also just got taken out, and it's a lot of fiends here. There's a fiend style. I've just cast a few mimic games, and this kind of looks like a mimic game. Maybe mimic's also Andreas. But here we have tanking with the Hexen. Oh, one of the fiends was tanking. Good micro from Andreas here. But Jay's units are already here, and they're being annoyed. Yeah, and Andreas full pulls back. A lot of his units are weak. And Jay says, I'm going to steal this, but the Brute's like, no! This is mine. I love this fight over the Shadow Demon. Jay finally gets it. The Brute has to go home, but the Brute's getting her ass on the way home. This Hexen low, the Brute splits. And Jay looks like is going to be forced to retreat as more Brutes show up. And look at this. Maybe this... I mean, feed and run buys are very popular these days, but it was Mimic who was using a lot of these in those earlier games. Like I said, anyone at the top of the ladder that we don't know who it is, we assume is Andreas. Just like for the Vanguards, we've got a few, Dopamine, Zero Sugar Coke, and so on, that we're not really sure who they are. We kind of assume they're all the same too. It's probably not true. What's probably true is that there's just a bunch of really good players out there, and some of them don't play in tournaments or hang out on the Discord, so we don't know who they are. It just makes sense. These teams trying to make something happen, but Jay's down here at the bottom, also trying to push in, but there's just not enough here for Jay. And yeah, this is probably going to get cleaned up here. We do see some more reinforcements coming. These Lancers just so tanky, so tanky. This is a great kind of little push here from Jay. Finally losing some of those Lancers, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make anything happen other than just fighting the army. And now with the Manifest Shroud Stone, that's a lot of DPS. They focus it down, but at what cost? Losing a Lancer and a Hedgehog there. Another Lancer goes down. Yeah. This push is not looking great. There's still this Fiend up. There's a couple Fiends up here still being annoying. And what that means is I don't think a lot of Bobs went down, but there's a lot of mining time lost. And we see Andreas now pushing out to recapture the tower, regain that map control. And Jay's remaining aggressive, but I don't know if he really should be trying this with his 4 hedgies here. One reason is there's that Weaver there, and as soon as the Weaver gets enough energy, she can just lash them in. And a lashed hedgehog's pretty much a dead hedgehog. But nonetheless, Andreas does get pushed back here, and 2 more fiends going to the... Only 2. And all the bobs pulled. This is a perfectly fine response. Wait. Oh, this is a JXP special. This is the, like, the all-in that you do at the end when, yeah, it's already GG. Alright, here we are in a second game between these two in the blue Vanguard here. This is going to be jayxp123. jayxp123. And his opponent, this space intentionally left blank. I'm going to call him Andreas. And that was a fairly quick game in that first match. Jay put some pressure in that was looking pretty good, actually, at first. He was doing some good micro. But I think there were some fiends in his base, and those fiends, it wasn't clear they were getting kills, because I could see that he was microing his bobs, but it delayed a lot of mining time. And I think ultimately that meant he fell behind in the macro and couldn't make it happen. We have Vault into Shrine here from Andreas. Into Farm, okay. For those of you who are trying to study the Andreas build. And we've got straight command post from JXP. And it's one brute camping, creeping, camp creeping. What am I trying to say here? And we've got the scout in here, but look at the body blocks from the unit. So the scout couldn't even get on the shrine. And a nice split, and again that happened. And really nice micro here from Andreas, which is perhaps not surprising. And boom. Easy job cleaning that up. I don't think he lost any fiends, and he did get a few hits on the dog to chase it away. Really, really well done. And the scout is headed home. Probably looking for cabbage. There's one. And now we're on to the vision camp here for Andreas. Whereas, do we have... Okay, we got our first Lancer out. He's swinging his sword around, waiting for someone to show up and help him. But Andreas splitting those fiends. Again, after casting some Mimic games this morning, this is exactly what Mimic was doing too. So... This fiend opening seems really popular, at least, if these are not the same folk. And oh, this habitat goes down. I love going for that, and kills a Lancer too. Oh, Jay turns to try and chase him away, and then does manage to get him out of there. But that meant losing a Lancer that he likes to keep alive, and the scout went down too. 2 Lancers here, finishing off the slimes. But that should be 3 Lancers and a Scout, plus a Habitat went down. So really good harass already from the Fiends. Jay, undismayed, putting down his Biokinetics Lab, another Rax, another Habitat, and a Mech Bay. But these Fiends are still at... Oh, there's a sentry post here, killing one of the Fiends. Wonder if those Fiends can actually take out that sentry post. Of course, with repair they probably can't, but... Okay, I was thinking maybe those Fiends were coming in for more damage, but they got a Scout off and realized maybe we shouldn't. 3 more Fiends added, though, so at some point the number of Fiends here gets good enough that they can just swoop in there and take out... Look at this! Wow! I had never even thought, like... That's so cool that I didn't notice that there was this battle going on here at the Vision Camp. And somehow Andreas has enough to not only creep that energy camp up there, but also push JXP off this camp, and the Fiends from the energy camp show up, get a free kill on a Hedgehog, and these Lancers look like they're going to be gone too. And no, they make it out of there, and that's just testament to how squishy Fiends are. They make it into their health camp. If they're lucky, like it's double skull trying to get that Lancer, but the Lancer does stay alive. And a Bob chopping trees at the back. There's a lot of micro going on for Jay here, but he just doesn't have enough units, I think, to handle this. Andreas somehow able to just get so many units on the map. Even looking at the supply, it's not a huge supply lead, so I wonder what that's about. I guess 10 supply kind of is at this stage of the game. And Andreas is going to go for this camp, and Jay's going to try and take the opportunity, but look, there's just so much stuff here. The camp was already cleaned up. It's a skull up here. I thought it might be a fiend. And Andreas actually pulling back on 4th shrine here, as well as the 3rd base up. And looks like upgrades for the Hellforge going down, as well as Twilight Spire. And do we have a ritual chamber? There's a ritual chamber as well. So very late upgrades buildings. I mean, relatively for Andreas here. And that, again, if you're trying to study these Andreas builds, take note here. He stayed on unupgraded tier 1 for 5 minutes here, while he did a lot of creeping and harassing and building up his eco. Another scout fiend. And even though Andreas sort of is ahead here, the supply's not telling that tale very much. Almost even supply. I think the eco has really been where Andreas has been successful here. Now we're starting seeing some of those later units. We got a Weaver and a Magmadon being added. Let's see what kind of upgrades we got. We got the what's that? Soulforge Ascendants, which is the first brute upgrade, and that I would imagine we're getting Plague Axes indeed. Now the cool thing about this later upgrade style, I think, is that the Plague Axes are 45 seconds, but that Soulforge Ascendants, that's 2 minutes. So you do your upgrades here at tier 2, you get that Plague Axes, and right after Plague Axes finishes, let's take a look at it because it's about to be done. You queue up your Reaper's Rush, and your Reaper's Rush is probably going to finish right when that Soulforge Ascendance finishes. And now you got fully upgraded Brutes and Gaunts. Well, not Brutes technically, but Gaunts. All sort of hitting at the same timing. And so actually we don't see the Reaper's Rush being queued up yet. So maybe Andreas has a different idea here. He certainly has the Luminite and the Ethereum for it. This force is starting to look a little bit dangerous. We're now getting a little bit more of a supply lead for Andreas. And OJ hasn't taken that energy camp back yet. Not that it's super helpful for either of them. And Jay splitting up his units again, trying to get some kind of pay, some kind of efficient use of them. These hedgehogs have to retreat as the units come from the north. One hedgehog goes down. And these lancers, this is not well advised. Running into a trampling mag. And oh, how did he get that Nightfall? That's like pro level targeting. Those things were moving so fast. Nonetheless, most of them getting away. Very smart to run through the forest there. Meanwhile, the hedgehogs here are trying to get this shrine, and they might get it. A Lash is going down to stun the units to mostly just slow their DPS. Oh, huge. But look, Andreas had already put another shrine down. We'll call that the Mushroom Shrine after our friend MSRM. What it's been dubbed recently as the shrine you build next to your Ethereum instead of next to your Luminite. And that aggression from JXP was ill-advised, and as a result, losing those units means the supply lead is now strongly in the favor of Andreas. And I think we might see our final engage here. Oh, it's a lot of Vulcans, though. That's a lot of Vulcans. And Vulcans actually just chew through tier 1 Infernal, which is almost all we have here. There are a couple Weavers, which were helpful versus them. There's more Weavers popped out. Andreas, I think, just regrouping so we can get this whole army together. A couple Fiends out there just spying what they can spy. And more Lancers running out. So Jay does like to just run some Lancers off. Try and get them in a mineral line. Try and get them on a shrine. And Andreas' units are out of position, but wait a second. Those units said, you're not supposed to be here. And there's no imps here. Where did the imps go? They're all transferring. So these Lancers, unfortunately, the only thing they're going to get done here, notice there's a second Hellforge, is they're going to call this army back. And so the army has to come all the way back to deal with them, but otherwise they didn't get very much damage. So the second Hellforge there is when you hit tier 3, there's so many upgrades you want to get that having 2 Hellforges is usually a good way to go. That way you can get your second Brood upgrade, you can get the speed, the Raging Tendons on your mags. But for the moment he doesn't have either of those going down. Like, very curious. Reaper's Rush is up now. But now this Death Ball is looking very deathly. We even have another base going down up here. So Andreas has played a macro game this time, but is now ready to move into the base and say, you're going to go down. But no, pulling back again. Finding this base over here. There's a drop. That's going to get taken out, I assume. Nope, the drop just gets ignored. This base gets cancelled. I assume that was a cancel. And here we go, Vulcan drop. They're trying to get some imps, but the imps are pulling away. Felhug's making it hard. And the Vulcan's just chilling in the back, pretty much focusing on farm as these Gaunts show up. And I think Jay's just waiting for... Ooh, a good lash. So one of the Vulcans goes down and Jay picks it up and takes it out. But Shadow Flyer's there. Skaboosh. Vulcan does get dumped out first. And... Ooh, he says, wait a second, where are these imps going? Where are those imps going? Gets a promote. Or maybe that was just a natural upgrade as he killed that fiend. Shields up. Look at how a single Vulcan here can still just mow units while he's decided to walk away. He's like, I'm going home. You guys aren't my friends. I don't want to hang out with you anymore. And then he got killed. So he's gone. And this, like I said, this is just a big old death ball from Andreas now. And we need to... At some point, this just needs to march on into the base and be like, you're going to be dead. He's maxed. He's got 8 supply until he's maxed. Is there yet a dragon? I don't see a dragon. Little known fact about dragons. I wonder if they've patched this. But your dragons don't care about supply. If you want to build a dragon and you're at full supply, you can still do it. It's the only unit I think that you can build when you're at full supply. Fiends, of course, can still... Oh, huge trample. Look at those. Oh, as an Infernal player, I just love to see that. And that's going to be GG from jayxp. And we're back at it. This is going to be a third game in this little replay pack. Again, I just stole these off of jayxp's public replays on his untapped.gg. So thank you so much, jayxp, for making these available. And in case you can't tell by my incredible scrolling ability here, this is jayxp in the Blue Vanguard. And his opponent, so far, being a very hard opponent to overcome, this is Andreas in the red Infernal. This time we're on Lost Hope. And lucky for JXP, found the Hexen right away. I'm gonna go eat a cabbage. And that means getting that good early scouting. And it looks like Andreas once again going vault into shrine here. So won't be too easily harassable because this vault's about to finish, which means a brute can pop. And there we have our first brute. And he might be able to get a swipe off on that scout, but no, the scout runs away with his speedy little pup legs. There's that jerboa, the greater jerboa. There must be a lesser jerboa somewhere. And yeah, look at the Hexen here, getting kind of low. Let's keep our eye on her. Hexen versus dog, but oh, the dog is the one who goes down because of a nice fiend showing up. And I think Jay made a gamble there, hoping to get a Hexen. Getting a Hexen kill is always going to be a huge boon. But unfortunately, in that case, losing the scout and not getting the kill. You know, if you get the kill and then you lose the scout, you're like, okay, that's a good trade. But missed out on the kill. Nonetheless, the Hexen's quite low, and if Jay can catch her out on the map, maybe with a couple Lancers, she'll probably melt pretty easy. But for now, Andreas is just out creeping the Vision Camp and doing a good job. Andreas, so far in these matches, has shown his skill, really. Very consistent. And once again, it's the 7 Fiends into the base. Lancer's already there, so jayxp in anticipating this now. Again, I should mention, these are all ladder games. This is not some kind of practice series or something. So Jay is just adjusting to having met Andreas on the map, or on the ladder a few times, and knowing, hey, wait, he likes Fiend run bys right around this time, right around 2.5 minutes. And maybe I should just have my Lancers comfortably at home. Okay, he wasn't able to get any of the slimes, but he did chase them away. Oh, but Andreas is like, well, fine, then you probably left me a habitat I can take out. Oh, he left the habitat. Curious, curious. And not fully healed back up, not fully repaired. I was going to mention there, one of the value is the lost mining time. Even though you didn't get the habitat, all those mobs got pulled off mining. And now some of them are building, and they didn't fully repair. So that sentry post, or that habitat might still go down to these fiends, or to maybe something else in the future. And these fiends are active on the map while Andreas is still creeping. And look at this. We saw this in an earlier game. It's like, these fiends have crazy DPS now. They're squishy as all heck, but they just got crazy DPS, so they can clear camps. And so now Andreas is basically like, I'm out on the map clearing multiple camps at a time. He's got this camp. With this fiends we saw from last time, he can't take this camp. I wonder if he'll do it. So we saw in the last game with 7 fiends, he was able to take out this camp. And he's over here taking out a Luminite camp at the same time. This is ridiculous creeping on Lost Hope. Now, Lost Hope, that's what this map is about, especially if you're an Infernal. Come on, guys. Yeah. Oh, they were waiting for their debuff. Oh, my goodness. Very cool. Very cool. And super micro here. This is a cool play. It's just definitely not one I could do. I don't have the micro to pull those units back right at the right time and keep them alive. But holy, Andreas, teaching a workshop, a school in creeping Lost Hope right now. We're at the 5-minute mark and he's almost creeped every single camp. He's left 2 camps and they're just the 2 harder ones. Okay, so like what do you do when you're in this position as Andreas? Because you've almost got the whole like my neurodivergent brain's like, well, you've almost got them all. You need to go get the last two. Why wouldn't you? Got to finish the circuit. And now Jay's out here stealing some of them. But look at Jay's army. It just looks like again, his armies tend to look like these little harass armies. And this is not going to be good. Sends the Skullashetta up, gets the scouting information. The Bob's here trying to chase. The reason I say this is not good is these fiends here can move in to get a body block on this ramp, but no, instead they're headed right into the fiend line. They got on top of some exos here. Oh, the exo's going down, and then also the Bob's going down. Meanwhile, there's a full-on battle here as he's coming and he's grabbed this army, and it is trying to get out there. Like I said, the fiend's on the ramp, not quite body blocking, but harassing really hard. So many low units here, and that's going to be another GG from JXP.